going to be starting a new series called Science Saturdays. I know it's not... Fuck, okay, how does that... I'm not even going to... I can just read it. What's happening? Mars. A place, it's a planet. Look, there's a lot of shit for you to catch up on right now if you don't know what Mars is. So I'm just gonna run through this shit real quick. So basically, people knew Mars existed for as long as people have been looking at the stars, but the Egyptians were the first to write its motion and shit down. The Romans named it, and 5 other bright as fuck shit in the sky after some of their gods, and for some reason we still have those names. Hashtag Western civilization, hashtag the Dark Ages. Galileo was the first to look at it through a telescope. In 1877, this Italian boy, Giovanni Schiaparelli, created the first detailed map of Mars, but his telescope was kind of shitty. It just looked like there were some straight lines going across the surface. He called them canali, by which he meant channels or grooves, but some fuck whose language was not Italian thought it meant canals, and after that, literally everyone and their moms thought some people on Mars were digging canals to throw water around. Now humans generally have some control of themselves, thanks to the fact that we have robots up there taking selfies and playing with rocks, etc. There's still a chance there's life on Mars, but it just probably won't look like this. Because of these robot boys and NASA and friends, we also know a bunch of sciencey shit about it. I'm gonna talk about that later in this informative as fuck nug of a video. Also now humans have realized that the Earth is gonna be 10 out of 10 fucked in a decade. So we're trying to roll over to Mars to establish a cultural presence. So what are some good ways to do that? Basically we got terraforming, bubble domes, and human genetic modification, but that last one's fucky as hell, so we're just not gonna. Today we're gonna talk about terraforming because it's the only real long-term option. Here we go. So the first question one should ask is, what the fuck is terraforming? Terraforming is defined by NASA as the transformation of a hostile environment into one suitable for human life. So basically making a planet take a similar form to Earth, or terra, as the Earth is called in Latin. So why is Mars hostile, do you ask? Do you want to ask that to the camera? Why is Mars hostile?
Why is Mars hostile?
Fuck, that's a good question! There's just one big ass problem, mainly is that it doesn't have a fucking magnetic field, which we think is generated by having a liquid core like Earth. Basically, Mars is just cooled the fuck down. Because of the lack of the magnetic field, it also has no protection from solar wind, so its atmosphere gets stripped the fuck off every time the sun breathes. On top of that, Mars has a third of Earth's gravity, so it can barely hold on to the atmosphere it has. Without proper atmospheric pressure, water vaporizes even when it's not boiling temperature, which is a bitch. Also, the atmosphere that it has is 96% CO2, which is super not good to breathe as a human being. And then outside the equator, most of the fucking planet is cold as shit, so the whole surface is covered in this layer of permafrost underneath a bunch of dust. Here's a summary of the bad shit. Basically, it all goes back to the lack of a liquid core, but the main factors are shitty atmosphere, and it's just cold as fuck. So, I mean, shitty atmosphere is really the big thing here. So how are we gonna fix it, Wes? Controlled bombardment using asteroids might be a good answer to that. As explained in the book 2312, they talk about the idea of capturing asteroids and bombing the shit out of Mars. This actually is probably part of the reason that Earth is still properly molten and moving around. A whole other planet rammed the fuck into Earth, and that's one of the theories as to why we have a moon form. So the question is if we want to just drop a fat ass asteroid on Mars. The other idea is to just do a bunch of tactically placed nukes. So the idea behind this is basically to melt the permafrost and kick up all the frozen water and CO2 at the poles to just get a real chunk of atmosphere there to heat up the surface so we can prep for our plants and shit. The other idea to generate an atmosphere is to just put a bunch of factories on the surface of Mars that are generating CFCs, which we already do here. They're banned now. A lot of places. They're the reason Australia has a fucking hole in their ozone layer. They're really good greenhouse gas, so we could do that. And then the last step there would be to seed bioforms. When it's warm enough, we could seed bioforms to use up the CO2 and to create more oxygen so that we can breathe it. So that's kind of just the process a little bit. But then there's just so much shit that makes that hard. Because we just talked about the shit that would make it kind of okay for plants to live there. That would basically fix the whole plant problem. But getting it okay for humans would take a long as shit time. James Casting, a geoscientist at Penn State University, so you know he does things that make him credible. In a debate about terraforming Mars, he said it could take up to 40,000 years for Mars to get habitable levels of oxygen using the ways we just talked about just now. And then later in that same debate, this dude, John Rumiel, pointed out that if there is some form of life of Mars, it's probably going to push back against any terraforming efforts we might put into place. So we're kind of going to want to know if there's already life there before we try and shove our dick in it just right now. And then there's the question of if we should just go fuck their environment or try and restart their environment and then just kind of like slide in there and hang out with them. Okay, to finish this off, terraforming Mars is complicated as fuck and equally as fuck hard. In the end, we probably could do it, but the real question is, should we? So in my opinion, fucking know what the shit. But also, if you want and have the money, hit that up. Elon, cough, cough. Mr. Musk, cough, I'm looking at you. That would be great. But Earth is fucked as shit. You got people beheading other people for no reason. So let's try and just focus on having a generally peaceful gang of 8 billion people, humans, and then we can go try out other shit. We should probably spend our time fixing the problems we already have before we go somewhere else and create new ones. Alright, that was it. So that was the attempt at Science Saturdays. It's probably gonna be pretty mediocre. We're gonna see how it goes. So if you liked it, like it, and if you liked it even more, subscribe. Just tell me if you want another one of these, because it'll be really bad if I just kept doing it. We're gonna go eat dinner now or some shit. What else do I have to say? Oh yeah, fucking I'm Bryce, and thanks for being part of my life. I'll see y'all in like a fucking couple days. Okay, wait, I gotta make sure this so basically is right. So basically, that was flawless. People, the chemical cycles of Martin. Here we go. Sucking my dick. On top of that, Mars has a third of Earth's